Hey, there we are. Good morning, everybody. Yes, that's right. It is Monday morning, and I want to welcome you officially to the Pondering Podcast. That's it. Now goes well. Oh yeah. Happy Monday morning, May the 11th. You are watching Pondering, and I'm your host, Pastor Joel Rissinger. It is Monday morning, and we are happy that it is TGIM here on the Pondering Show. Good morning to Susie and Brenda who are watching, and anyone else I've missed here. But it is good to be with you. Hope you had a great weekend. For those of you who may be new or listening via podcast venue, there are multiple podcast platforms that we're on. It's great to have you here. What do? Well, we ponder and we talk about things, and there are no holds barred here in this program. We talk about news, we talk about religion, we talk about politics, we talk about sex, money, kids, parents, all the above and more, sometimes frivolous, sometimes serious, but always from a biblical paradigm. We are unabashedly, unashamedly, and unapologetically Christian in terms of our worldview, but we welcome other views and perspectives. We just ask that if you disagree, you don't be disagreeable. And so thank you for being here. Thank you for joining me. Fred, Leah, and others I may have missed. Again, it's scrolling quick here today because I've got the angle turned. I'm doing things a little differently today. See how that works out. So I love to hear about your weekend. Had a weird weekend in a sense. Pretty frigid and cold on Saturday. Little flakes of snow coming down on the 9th of May, the latest I can remember. My cousin's home, back home, Western New York, had probably an inch of snow on the ground that morning, Saturday morning. So that was bizarre, to say the least. But it warmed up okay yesterday. Not a heat wave by any means, but comfortable. So we got to spend some time out on the back deck and letting the kids play. They came over yesterday afternoon for Mother's Day. And Grandma had a great Mother's Day. We were able to get some burgers from Red Robin. And the kids were there playing and dressing up, and Karen and Brinny dressed up like Snow White. They both had little Snow White gowns, and so they did that, and they jumped on the trampoline, and we just had a good old time. Bird feeder has been a great success. Man, those little suckers are hungry, though. They are just going through the bird seed like nobody's business. And so we've been having a lot of fun watching them and the squirrels and the chipmunks and the bunny rabbits and everything else. Our backyard has become a zoo, just like the inside of the house. Hey, so it was fun. Good service yesterday, I hope. Susie says it was. Thank you, Susie. I was able to preach and do the message and be part of the praise team, and I could only watch it once. I watched it the first time through, and that was it. You know, I have a hard time watching or listening to myself speak, teach, whatever it is. I can do it sort of from a critical perspective, like looking for how did it sound? Was it up? Was it down? Was it good? Was it bad? Was it biblical? Was it not? Was it, that I can do, but just to watch it, it's torture. I remember the first time I heard myself on the radio. And it absolutely terrified me because, when you record stuff or when you're preaching live even in front of people, you have a chance to fix it. Like if you say something and you see people go, ooh, or what? You can kind of clarify, restate, whatever. If you're recording and it sounds like a little confusing or it didn't come out right, you can rewind and re-record, right, or do another take. But when you're live let me restate that. When you're on the radio and it's pre-recorded or TV and you're watching or listening to it passively and it's out there, it's being broadcast, there's nothing you can do about it. It is the most helpless feeling on the planet. It's kind of like, no, but you can't rewind, you can't stop, you can't delete. It's just, there it goes. So I find that a little torturous. It's torture anyway. But otherwise, it was good. Glad we got to do it, and hope it was a blessing to those who heard it over they and over he and over every way. So this week in Pondering, we're going to continue our ongoing updates as far as the coronavirus crisis. We're going to talk about some other things too. We may have an interview or two. And as I always tell you, if you want to participate, there's a bunch of ways to do it. You can type into the live stream, as Leah, Susie, and others have done already this morning, and say hello, or just make a comment, or share whatever you want to share. You can do that 24/7 on our Pondering Radio Facebook page, because you can post on that page. You can also email ponderingradio@gmail.com. That's Pondering Radio, like one word, ponderingradio@gmail.com. You can send a carrier pigeon, hire a skywriter. There are a lot of ways to communicate. Probably an easier one is to call us at 860-500-7163, 860-500-7163, and you can leave a voice message if we're not here. Good morning to Jen. It's great to have you aboard this morning, and Sarah. And you know, it was fun yesterday to see, and just thinking of this because I know Louie and Grace did a little thing for Sarah's mom, and it was fun because we had a bunch of little testimonies clipped together as a mom tribute where people made little comments of why they appreciated their mom, and then our team edited them all together with some music and stuff, and I thought it was quite moving. It was really well done, and that was our gift to moms yesterday, and even our daughter chimed in with a thought or two, which was really sweet. Made her mommy tear up, so you can always tell that you're doing good when mommy tears up, right? Susie says, I prefer smoke signals. Yeah, you can do smoke signals to contribute to pondering. That's fine too. So a lot of things happening, even outside of the pondering world, or I shouldn't say the pondering world, but the COVID-14 or 19 or whatever it is, COVID-19 world. And some of it, I don't know, some of the happenings aren't getting much press because the virus is dominating the news cycle. However, I think most of you probably heard Michael Flynn was released and all charges dropped by the Department of Justice last week. I hinted at it, I think, on Friday's program or Thursday. That is very significant. It's not going to get a lot of press, but it's a very significant thing in favor of the president and his team. And I think it shows the unraveling of the entire Russia collusion and Ukrainian collusion hoaxes, both of them, the impeachment process, and all of it has just begun. It hasn't just begun, but it is unraveling at a very high speed. And the president's comments about it being a hoax have been proven true. Again, whether you're a fan of the president or not, it is definitely the case that the entire, I guess, what dominated the media, the entire focus of that probe and the impeachment trial has just been destroyed, the foundation of it. Jim, good morning, Pastor Jim. Good morning, Leanne. Great to have you aboard. So I think that's encouraging in the sense that the Bible says, be sure your sin will find you out. And there is, in fact, justice when those things come out, even though the press is largely ignoring it, except for Fox News and maybe a couple other outlets. And so I just think it's good to note this. The facts of the story that we talked about for the last year have begun to surface. People are, if they can get past the COVID crisis coverage, they can see it, and I think that's good. I think that will be helpful not just to the president, but to our country going forward, as hopefully it's a lesson to those that would want to create false charges, destroy people's lives for political gain, that they would back off, think twice. Good morning, Ed. Happy belated Mother's Day to you too, and all those who are moms, as he said. Yes. Yeah, I think it was a successful weekend. Love to hear about yours there, Ponderers. Did you have a good weekend? Did you have fun? Did you get to spend time with Mom? My mom has passed away several years ago. My sister posted a beautiful picture of her, which I was able to repost as part of my story on Facebook yesterday. Miss her. She was an amazing woman of faith, strong woman. She was a cowgirl at heart, literally. She was a horseman. She loved horses, cared for horses. She loved to shoot, loved to, um, yeah, do all that stuff. She was an Annie Oakley type, you know, Annie Oakley. And she loved her kids fiercely and protected us and was, you know, she was tough. I don't know if I've ever told the story. Maybe I did. I probably did. Of her when she was younger, getting chased by some guy home from school, and she's running along the sidewalk. She sees this snowbank, and so she runs up onto the snowbank so that when he skidded to a halt, he'd be down below her. And then she dive bombed him with one of those metal lunch boxes you used to carry, the big black ones, you know, and just wailed him over the top of the head, knocked him right down, knocked him out virtually. I don't know if he went totally unconscious, but needless to say, never chased her and her friends home again. It's funny how that works. My mom's family was pretty strong seed. Her brother, my Uncle Julius, we called him Dude, was the one you probably heard me talk about, who reformed an entire box of X-Lax into the shape of a Hershey bar, and wrapped it in a Hershey's wrapper, put it in his lunchbox, because some kid had been stealing his lunch and stealing candy bars out of his lunch. And so he kind of suspected who it was. He wasn't sure. But anyway, he just left it in there looking like a regular Hershey bar. And some kid took it and ate it and missed the next 2 days of school. So it was pretty clear who it was who did it. Yeah, apparently he was all pooped out, you know, when he came back. Anyway, sorry about that. So, yeah, let's see here. Jen says, we checked out Lauren Almaro, Brianna Gardner's new garden nursery called Connecticut Grows. Oh, interesting. I bought some beautiful flowers for the house. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, it is that season, isn't it? Susie says, Christy was here all day. Oh, very nice. Tracy and David came over for church in the morning. Wonderful. And Susie says, going to have to check out the nursery. I remember when they worked at the little garden stand on Willard Avenue here in Newington for the farm there. I can't think of the name of the farm suddenly. Yeah. Anyway, selling corn, selling, you know, tomatoes, etc. In fact, we still stop there once in a while for sweet corn. That's a good spot. Well, that's cool. So you got out and about a little bit. Very nice. They had a Mother's Day sale this weekend. Oh, cool. Yeah, good time of year to sell flowers. So, yeah, that's good. What else? Love to hear the rest of you. What did you do? What worked? How was your weekend overall? You know, we're starting to see, in terms of the COVID crisis, a little releasing of some of the restrictions, a little slow move toward restoring normalcy. And it's good. I mean, I think we need to do that for several reasons. We've talked about that on the show. We're starting to see relaxing of restrictions in some states, moving into phasing back into real life. We're, as a company, my company, nationally has changed now its restriction against the office staff and some of the nurses going into the office. For quite a while, we had to stay away. People that even were normally in the office were told to work from home. As of today, we're going back to the office. People are starting to return. You know, they're making sure there's separation between desks and cubicles and things like that. And they're still wearing masks and being safe that way. But the office staff, some of the nursing staff, nursing support, business office people are back in action as of today. So that's a national change for us as a company, which I think is healthy. We're starting to see, again, some businesses reopen with restrictions or with caution, but nonetheless reopen, and I think that's good. I think we have to, for a lot of reasons, including medical reasons, by the way. Believe it or not, I think we've talked about that. We need to develop a herd immunity as people. The only way for that to happen is for us to be somewhat exposed to the virus, at least those who are healthy and able to most likely survive it even if they get it. Now, we're also finding that there are some developments regarding vaccines. I told you last week that we have one vaccine right now in phase 2 of human testing, which is pretty good. And when the president was laughed at for saying we may have a vaccine by the end of the year, well, if this one continues to move forward, he's right. It'll probably be well before the end of the year. There's also some more positive news, which we're not going to hear probably on MSNBC, CNN, ABC, etc., with regard to one particular medication. The president's mentioned it once or twice and been laughed at for it. But I heard Sean Hannity interviewing Dr. Oz and another specialist out of Washington State. This particular doctor has written 400 papers on this particular medicine. The way CNN reported it, or maybe it was the New York Times and CNN picked it up, was that this medicine kills people. And so, the president's an idiot because he presented it as an option and it actually kills people. Well, that is not correct. It's another, to use the president's word, fake news item. And I've looked at this. The truth is that medication has never had an adverse effect on a patient, except when it was used in concert with other medications or specifically antibiotics, certain antibiotics. And normally when a patient was past the point of needing a ventilator, for example, or something, when it was used earlier in the process by itself, it's never had an adverse effect. And in fact, it's had some pretty positive effects. Sean Hannity actually interviewed a friend of his who was diagnosed with COVID-19, was put in the hospital, was about to go on the ventilator, and he got these two doctors involved that he had interviewed. They administered this medication, and almost immediately he started seeing results. The guy is now pretty much back to normal. He was on the air, being interviewed, sounded good. So there are some very positive developments, despite the best efforts of our media not to say that or talk about it, toward not only vaccine but treatment. And that means we probably won't be cooped up ad infinitum. So just want to encourage you with that. That's very good news, which you're not going to hear everywhere probably. Jen says we're making contingency plans for reopening the university in the fall in New Haven. Excellent. That's great news. The schools are just so paranoid. The teachers and the staff are talking about, well, we're probably going to see a second wave, so we better not plan to reopen in the fall. Well, I don't think there's any evidence of that, but hey, we'll see what happens. I honestly don't think they're going to have to stay closed and have more, homeschooling to distance learning next September, but we'll see. Fred says, when are the churches going to be open? Well, we actually met last week and talked about and reading through a document that was put out by, I think, the Assemblies of God regarding phases of reopening, potential stages and steps that could be taken in each phase to reopen. And we're looking at that. We're talking about that as a leadership team. We will begin to phase back in soon. The problem is, and I've been very outspoken on this, I don't believe that you're going to ever be able to open the doors and expect complete social distancing, which in phase 1 of this you would have to have. You'd have to be able to say, for the protection, especially of the elderly, you'd have to say, well, when we come back in, we're going to wear masks. We're not going to hug. We're going to stay 6 feet apart. We're not going to shake hands. We're going to put, separate rows so that there's at least a row in between each row, and families sit together, but everybody else, stay a couple chair lengths apart. It's not the numbers that make that impossible, because I think realistically, if we open the doors tomorrow, there'd still be a number of people who would stay away because of fear. And perhaps health reasons, and maybe even showing some possible symptoms that they, would be concerned about. But I think the reason that it wouldn't work is that we love each other too much. I mean, you're standing at the doorway and someone you haven't seen in 2 months comes walking up, and say, hey, are you going to go, you're going to Heisman them, stiff arm? I don't think so. So my comment to the staff has been, when we open, we better expect that, we're ready to open. and that people are going to be, as much as we'll post signs everywhere and we'll call probably some of those that are older and more at risk and just, warn them and read off the CDC recommendations to them on the phone, whatever we might do, which probably is wise to do all that. Despite those best efforts, we're going to have a lot of hug and high five and whatnot going on, and we better be prepared for that. We better expect it, because I don't think you can put people who love each other that much in the room. It's like my grandkids, when the grandkids come over to the house, like yesterday, we don't stiff arm them when they come running up, Baba, could they pass on to me, because I'm the most at risk in the family with my health conditions and my age, could they pass on to me something that could take me out? Yes, they could. Could I pass something on? Theoretically, although I'm pretty careful when I go out to facilities, for example, where COVID is running rampant. I dress up. I look like a spaceman or an alien invader. But yeah, it's possible. But is the emotional damage of stiff-arming a 3-year-old who wants to hug you perhaps more dangerous or more likely, maybe is a better word, than the disease or the virus itself? Yeah, I think it is. So we're not going to see people just go, maybe some will, but many are not going to. So when we open, we better plan and expect that we are open, and that there'll be some hugging going on. And if we're not ready for that, then we need to wait. So we're talking through it. We're looking at it. We're preparing for it, Fred, but I don't know exactly when yet. We'll be ready to roll open the door. Ed says, attended an outside church service yesterday for the first time in months. There was social distancing, not my usual congregation. Oh, that's cool. And I've seen a lot of drive-ins, where people are doing a drive-up or drive-in service. I'm all for drive-by service. As they drive by slow, you get like a minute to preach at them and maybe sing a verse of a song or a couple of phrases anyway. Drive-by church. Oh, gosh. Well, I did, on a more serious note, hear that some are forecasting the reopening of multiple drive-in theaters, because the thought is, not only right now, but even going forward, as people are afraid of this, and as the media continues to tell us that we're about to see a second, third, fourth, fifth wave, whatever they promote, people are scared. And so, as opposed to not going to movies anymore, or only watching Netflix and Hulu and Disney Plus, I think there's a move to reopen some drive-in theaters, and that the people will go to those, because you can maintain social distancing and still see a film, get some popcorn, have that whole movie experience. So, especially this, in the summer, now that we're moving into the warmer months, we'll see. It's a possibility. Some of these places might be revived, and I would like that, because I miss the drive. I thought drive-ins were cool. I still think they're cool. When we go camping or we travel and we find that there's one open, because occasionally you'll find a place that's usually out in the country, usually a place that's, behind the times, quote unquote, they'll have it. And we did last summer, actually. We were up in upstate New York, near the Canadian border. I'm trying to think where we were. No, I'm sorry. We were in Canada. It was just over the border in Canada, near Napanee. Was it Napanee? Anyhow, but we found a theater, a drive-in theater, near our campground. And so we went there a couple times and had a blast. I had the outdoor swings and playground with the kids, and you could go in and get your popcorn and your snacks and go back to your car, and it was awesome. We had a good time. I miss that. I miss the old Hartford Drive-In Theater, not far from my house, across from where McDonald's is now. I miss that. So maybe we'll see if some of those really do reopen. So listen, I'm about out of time. They went fast. I would love it if you guys want to contribute thoughts, ideas, people that you'd like me to interview, subjects you'd like us to tackle here in the old Pondering program. We would love to hear from you. Again, you can type it and post it right here on the Pondering Radio page or Facebook. You can email ponderingradio@gmail.com. You can call us at 860-500-7163. Love to hear from you. Don't forget to check out Lifeway Church at lifewaych.com. Lots of good stuff this week, including Bible studies and groups that you can join via Zoom, and perhaps news and plans to move forward and begin to look at reopening at some point. We'll see when we're ready to post. Once we've kind of got the details worked out, I'm sure we'll be getting that out there. So hope you guys have an awesome week. Listen, as I always tell you, stay in the Word, keep praying, keep pondering, and we'll be back tomorrow morning at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let everybody know. We'll see you then. Bye for now.